Well, hey, welcome to Tea Time with Emily, where I'm spilling a tea on owning a creative small business, insider tips on the wedding industry, and interviewing real couples and wedding vendors, couples that are newly married, been married a couple years now, or engaged. So, without further ado, in today's episode, we are talking with Mehgan and Chad Pinnigus. So, you guys want to introduce yourselves? I already said your names, but say just a little bit about who you are.
Yeah. So I'm Mehgan, and this is my husband, Chad.
Hey guys.
We got married 3 years ago in September, which is crazy that it's already been almost 3 years. But
Technically July 11th, but we had a COVID wedding.
Yes.
I'm sure we'll get into all
I was
that.
going to say, we will definitely get into that because technically, I still count you guys as July wedding, technically.
That's true.
But yeah, no, that's
So
awesome.
3 years is coming up really soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
When you have a little one already.
Yes. We have a little boy, Gray James. He's the cutest little nugget, but
He is.
biggest blessing ever.
I know, we love him. So I want to get started with just some questions about your wedding day, kind of dive into a couple different aspects of wedding planning, and then, of course, like memories you guys have. So without further ado, I'm going to just start with the first one. And where did you guys get your inspiration for your wedding planning? Chad, I'm sure maybe you didn't have as much, into all of that design world, but I just want to hear from you guys.
Yeah, I think I'll take this one since I feel like I did a lot of that. No, but obviously girls always plan their wedding. So from the start, I knew I wanted something timeless but classy. So I really chose like a very modern, elegant style. I feel like it was very had pieces of modern flair to it, but also traditional at the same time because I wanted it to be timeless. I didn't want it to be too trendy. So that was kind of where I started. And then we kind of went from there with all the little pieces of the whole entire, process. So
yeah. When, I know most guys aren't really super involved, but Chad, what ways were you involved with the wedding planning?
It was probably from like the start of the wedding to kind of like, we actually talked about eloping. Like we weren't like 100% sure on like, are we going to do a full wedding with our family? Or are we going to do like a small elopement, somewhere special? But then when it came down to it, we really wanted this special moment, not just for me and Mehgan, but for our family to be able to see us, take that oath of being married,
yeah, definitely.
Should I say something about Gray?
Yeah, you should have just done it instead of.
Okay, yeah. Well, hey, this is a very candid show, y'all. Y'all are just a part of the journey. But basically, if you hear a little baby screaming, that would be little Gray downstairs.
Yep.
He's a talker.
Shout out to Ashley for
Yes, thanks, Ashley. If you can hear us downstairs.
Yes. But yeah, going back to that kind of was like the start, was trying to figure out, okay, do we actually want a wedding or do we want to elope like he was talking about? And then we decided, like he was saying, we did want to have a wedding, and then we kind of went from there.
And then Mehgan took the reins.
I did.
I honestly can't imagine y'all not having a big wedding.
I know.
That's true.
Yeah.
With big families and then all your friends and everything.
Yeah, Chad's the baby of 8 kids. So
6 sisters, 1 brother.
Yeah. So
all very close too.
Very, very close. So definitely having a big wedding, I knew that was going to happen. But now looking back, we would have never done anything differently.
No,
so
not at all.
Yeah.
Well, and so looking back on all the decisions you did make and just knowing your experience now as an interior designer and like are you a personal shopper?
Yeah, so I do like personal styling.
I was like, what?
Retail,
there's a word for it.
Yeah.
But like with your experience now with all of that, how would you maybe go forward if you were starting over with wedding planning? I know that probably sounds terrifying.
Yes.
If you were starting over, what are some things that you would do now with all of your experience in the design world? I'm just curious.
Honestly, I feel like I would keep it simple, but still keep that same like modern, elegant feel to it. I really think I still look back on all of our photos and our video and all of our different things that we did for our wedding. And I don't ever look at it and pinpoint things that I'm like, I would change that now. I think I would add different things. Like I've seen stuff at other weddings that I was like, wow, that's really cool. We just got back from a wedding this past weekend and there was things that we were like, That's really,
Really
really
cool.
cool.
Well,
Yeah.
now I have to know. Can you give me like one example?
Yes.
I could take
so-
over for this one.
Are you going to talk about the,
The
guest
telephone?
book?
Yeah.
Yes. Tell them about that.
So the guest book that this couple had it wasn't a guest book. It was actually a telephone.
Like an
And
old antique.
old antique telephone, and you got to record a message to the bride and groom and like, wish them good luck and everything. And it was recording, so then they would have that forever, which was really, really cool.
Yeah, like when you picked it up, it was the bride and the groom, and they were like, "Hey guys, like thank you so much for coming to our wedding. We're out on the dance floor right now, but leave us a message, and we can't wait to like listen to it later. Like, thank you so much for coming to our wedding." And so everybody was just leaving them messages all night long.
Yep.
So going back to like hear that is going to be so cool for them forever. So that was really cool. I would do that now if I had that. But we did like our guest book. We did like a canvas, and everybody wrote little notes on it, and we have that hanging in our house, which is really special. But I would do the telephone for sure.
Oh yeah, I think it's called After the Tone. We've had that at a couple weddings, and it is really cool. And James and I actually have left a few messages, much to your chagrin, I think. 'Cause you don't,
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
like,
as
what
you
do
can-
I say?
Oh yeah. What are you supposed to say? You're on the spot. Like this is not my thing.
It wasn't good for this wedding because we were all like best friends that were in the wedding, and we just kept going back so many times because we just knew that they would think it was funny. So I'm sure there's a lot of random messages on there, but still, I feel like
I'm
it's
sure
fun.
she'll love that.
Yeah,
That's
I think
awesome.
so, too.
Well, yeah, no, I think that's really great. And honestly, like as far as like styles changing, like with what you do for a living, like all the trends and stuff, and like
Yep.
you said, you wanted it to be timeless.
Mhm.
So the fact that you were able to achieve that, I think
Yeah.
is really, really cool.
Definitely. Yeah. And even to the dress and everything like that, I feel like I don't think we would change anything really that much.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe just not during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But it actually kind of like it strengthened our marriage before like so much, and it kind of made how our marriage is now, and it's really strong. So
Yeah.
God put you in those circumstances for a reason, and I feel like that's what we kind of took in out of all of that, and we've kind of just let it continue to go.
And we get 2 anniversaries.
Yeah.
And
good
that's
luck
a different
remembering
story. That might be even another part 5 of the podcast because yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Well, tell me, some people may already know this, but what was your venue? I'm just want to hear it or like everyone else wants to hear it. And then tell me what drew you to your venue. Like, why did you choose that? And what was your like favorite part about having your wedding there?
Yeah, so we got married at Glass Hill Venue in Good. It was from the start, you go up there, it's just breathtakingly beautiful just because of the view and everything. And we knew the people who like started that venue. They're great people. And Chad, I think you were the one that knew them more.
Yep.
But we kind of were searching around. We went and toured some other venues. But I feel like when it's kind of like a dress. Like
The
I
view's
feel like,
unreal.
yeah, like when it's the venue, So we got up there. As soon as we toured it, we didn't even know the price. We didn't know anything other than the fact that we were making sure that our dog could be in the venue. That was the only thing we kept asking venues. We were like, can our golden retriever be in here? And as soon as they said they'd make an exception, Chad and I both like looked at each other
It
and we
was
were
over.
like, this is it. We're getting
Yep.
married here. So that's how we chose Glass
And
Hill.
they did not allow dogs at that point.
Yeah.
And
they
I think
didn't.
actually I've seen a few weddings there where, dogs are definitely there. So
We started a trend.
I'll say
I don't know
Ranger
that
James.
100%, so don't fact check me. But I know that they kind of had to change as far as the contract that they put that Ranger could come to the wedding, which
Aw.
Ranger's our golden retriever.
Yep.
Just
Ranger.
turned 5.
5? Oh my
5 years
gosh.
old. Yep. June
Well, I guess
8th.
y'all have been married almost 3, so it makes
Yeah.
sense. But wow.
Yep.
That is wild. Well, so tell me, what is just a favorite moment? There's like no pressure. I know if I ask this, sometimes the answers flood away. But what is a favorite moment that you both have on your wedding day? It could be really random. Just wanna.
I'll let you go
Wanna
first,
hear.
Chad.
Well, relationship wise, just being there and doing our vows was probably one of the best things and memories that I hold on. And then off of being my wife, I would say one of the best memories I had was probably my the dance with my mom.
Yes,
Um,
definitely.
Yeah, it
That
was
very sweet.
it was awesome. Yeah.
I would say my favorite memory was it's the sweetest thing ever, but it's also kind of funny. Um, I was getting ready, and you're about to do your first look, and I think it was you. I think Emily, it was you. You came in and you were like, "Okay, we're about to do the first look, but I'm just warning you." Chad is a mess. He's already crying. Granted, let's sidetrack. Chad is saying up until the wedding, "Oh, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. You're not gonna see me cry. That's not me. That's not me."
I remember.
And this boy couldn't stop crying the whole entire day. I mean, from start to finish,
Like ugly crying.
like ugly cry. And I just remember, I think it was you, Emily. You were like, "Just warning you, he's out there bawling his eyes out. You're not even out there yet." She was like, "So just prepare yourself." So I just remember that out of anything over the whole day. Like, it was just so sweet to see like how emotional you are, and you haven't stopped crying since. So.
I love that. And honestly, one of my other questions I had for you was really for Chad. I remember talking like timeline logistics and like what you guys want your day to look like. And I know sometimes couples will say like, oh, I want to keep to tradition and I don't want to do a first look. Well, in my opinion, I think that is more a logistical question of like, how do you want your day to be? If you want to be completely away from each other and don't really see each other until after ceremony, then do traditional. Don't see each other. But if you want to spend your wedding day with, your significant other, like literally a first look is the way to go. Now, I remember, Meg, you were on board early on. You were like, I'm there. And this one over here was like, absolutely not. Chad, tell me what your hesitancies were in you answering that way.
More of that goes back to what you're saying, like being traditional, not seeing the bride until, she comes down the aisle. But reality is when we actually did decide to do a first look, nothing changes from when she's coming down the aisle. Nothing you're going to miss that you think you're going to miss or feel the way you are going to feel. We can go back and look at the video. I was crying just as much as she was coming down before I saw the first look.
Yeah.
So then it made where the positivity of the wedding did, we got to be together and it made it so much smooth. So logistically, it's something that I could highly recommend, and you're not going to regret it.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I didn't regret having a first look at all. I think it took a little bit of that, like, you're going to be nervous on your wedding day no matter what. And I just felt like it took a little bit of the edge off before you're about to just walk in front of, hundreds of people. So I felt like that kind of helped so that I could just like, okay, we've already gotten that out of the way. And I was excited to see him like at the ceremony because he had already seen me. So I recommend it for sure. And we got to get all of our, bridal party stuff done. So then right after, the ceremony, they got to go enjoy cocktail hour. So it's nice because you just get more time for stuff. I feel like it because up until the wedding, if you're not doing a first look, you're really just in like the suites, just kind of hanging out until it starts. And then afterwards you're like, okay, let's fit in like 1,000 things in an hour because, but I see both sides to it. So, but for us, it was the right move for us. So.
Well, and I'm just curious, as y'all have been in weddings since your wedding, have you been in a wedding where people have done traditional? How have you felt as a like bridal party member, like dealing with you said like cramming 1,000 things in that 1 hour? Like, how did that make you feel as like a bridal party member?
So this past wedding, I was actually just in a wedding this past weekend. And she did like a first touch. So they just, prayed, which was very sweet for them. And they, wanted to go the more traditional route. I think this was like a special case scenario because I feel like a lot of times in weddings, you're either you have a lot to do or you have like nothing to do besides getting ready and you're just waiting. This case scenario, like everything was already done for us. So we were just kind of hanging out, very like relaxing day. And then, afterwards, the pictures didn't take that long, but I'm going to say because you were inside enjoying the very nice cocktail hour.
Yes, and I'll get to that.
I was out there taking photos and I just like kept smelling the food and seeing how amazing people were talking about it. And we didn't get to go in there for a while. So obviously all of us girls, we weren't upset about it, but I feel like it's just one of those things where you do have to wait a little longer and you get to miss out on all the yummy food. But we still got to get the food afterwards, but he got to enjoy it a lot longer.
I did, and it was the first time ever. I mean, I've been in a lot of weddings, and it's always where you have to, go take all the pictures, and so you don't get to go enjoy the cocktail hour. Where this, I was not actually in a wedding, and I saw the benefits of being able to be at the cocktail hour and get all the good food and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, no, honestly, all of those points are really valid and great. And I have been in that situation before too. And I'm a photographer. And honestly, like whenever we do like more traditional weddings, I always tell like everybody, I'm like, if you work with me, I'll get you there sooner. You just got to pay attention and work with me.
I will say, when we talk about the wedding, we always talk about how amazing you were at keeping things on track.
I did not pay them to say any
No,
of this.
I promise.
No, but
I
also
promise.
with keeping things on track, but at the same time not overtaking your boundaries. Like you did it in such a good way
Yes.
where it was you weren't a dictator like duh, but like you kind of just made it run smoothly and
You
kind of
too,
just
James, but mainly Emily.
yeah.
I mean,
I give
you
James
know.
a little credit, but Emily,
My job's a lot easier with the guys. so.
Yes.
that is true.
Yeah.
We had a good time.
Yeah. But especially with Chad's family, I mean, Emily, I think Chad probably takes the cake on biggest family portrait. I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Second place.
Second
Nathan
place.
and Maddie. Nathan's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember how many siblings he had.
I
And
think
they
it
had
was.
kids.
I think it was 8 or 9, but most of them were already. He was the baby too, and everyone was
Oh,
married
see.
with kids.
They
Yeah.
did have a large family. They did.
Yeah.
But to counter that, my
He
parents
wants to be
are
the best.
divorced.
Yes.
So you had to take two
We did.
separate family
Yeah.
photos.
We
so,
did.
So y'all
So,
are probably on the same level.
I'd like to see,
Yeah.
I'd like to see the photo if we had them both
Side
together.
by side merged.
Yeah.
True. But yeah, honestly, like whenever we do family formals and we get the list, sometimes I'm like a little antsy. I'm like, immediate family only. But for you, Chad, that would have been like, that was a hot minute. We were there
It
with your
was,
family.
and it was hot.
But it
And
went
was
good.
September.
It was really warm.
It was September. You didn't think it was so hot, but I just remember I was sitting there and I was like, if Emily was not here, I don't know, we would be here for hours, literally hours, because it's just chaos. It's chaos. after.
It fit. I already told James we're gonna have to do like a family formals specific
Mm-hmm.
episode just to like get through all of the emotions that
Go over all of it.
Yeah, for real, for future weddings.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask just a few more questions about like your wedding day specifically. And I know you kind of answered this before, but just if you can give me one example, what is one thing, I know we heard about the guest book.
Mhm.
What is one thing you would do differently at your wedding since y'all been in different weddings? It's different, like if you're getting married now, what is something you would do differently and either add or not have at your wedding?
It kind of goes to like the music. I've been to weddings where the bride and the groom kind of choose all the music. And then I've been to weddings where like the DJ just kind of does everything. I think the wedding music at our wedding was great. Our DJ did an awesome job.
Mhm.
But I've been to weddings where the bride got to like choose everything. So those songs that like you kind of cringe at that come on at weddings,
Oof.
and you're just like, it's another one of these songs. I
Yes.
feel like
Yeah.
they're just an automatic, like DJ's gonna play it. We've been to weddings where they don't do that, and it's just great music from start to finish. Like I
Mhm.
feel like that's what I would do. I'm not saying that our music was bad,
No.
but I think there was a few songs that I probably would have just been, because I don't like to dance with those at weddings, and I
Yeah.
feel like I'm not a big fan. This might be a hot take, but I am not a big fan of like synchronized dance songs.
Oh, you mean like the Cupid Shuffle?
Yes,
Or the
like
cha-cha slide.
or the cha-cha slide.
Or
Like
the
I'm
Cotton Eye Joe,
I'm not
or the
like
electric
I think there's going to
slide.
be a lot of people upset at that
I
comment.
know, like I'm just not a Cotton Eye Joe girl. But
I make one exception.
oh gosh, let me guess.
Guess it. Come on, think about
what's
me.
The name
You know what it is.
Wobble.
Watch me wobble, wobble, wobble.
Yes.
I knew it. You're
I
a
make one
wobbler.
exception. But really, it's just like an inside joke with my mom. We love doing that at my wedding back in the day. So
long
It does
time ago.
sometimes get the actual like dancing started.
It depends on the crowd. If the crowd
Correct.
likes to dance, like if if you have a lot of good people who want to dance, then great. You don't really need that kind of thing. But I do think weddings where people are like nervous about dancing or don't want to dance, synchronize like those dances
Kind of get it
kind of
started.
help.
Mm-hmm.
Which I will say, the YMCA was the first song that they played at ours. And as much as like I wouldn't have chose that as my first song to play, it did get the people out on the dance floor.
Yeah.
So
Well,
did.
and also we had kids there. you
Yes,
know,
we did have
our
kids at ours.
nieces and nephews, so that kind of helped out too, to get it started.
yeah.
True. Well, and Chad, did you share yours before I go to the
Yeah,
next
what's
question?
yours?
What was yours?
I think she kind of hit it on the bottom there.
Did she?
Yeah, she did.
Oh, okay.
No comment.
Hit it on the bottom.
Hit it on the bottom.
That's what he said.
Sorry.
Oh man,
That's
All
what
right.
came to my mind.
Well, he's getting red.
I don't know. Is it hot in here? I don't know. So tell me, is there anything that you wish you would have splurged on for your wedding, or if you don't have anything, maybe share something that you would splurge on if you could go back or have a wedding right now.
I know for sure something that I would definitely splurge on is photography. I feel like hands down, not just because we're on this podcast.
I did not pay them to say this.
But seriously, photography is like the most important thing because I feel like that's like really truly what you have to look back on. All the memories and everything are great, and the food, which is another thing we'll get to. I feel like that's another thing I would splurge on, but photography specifically, making sure it matches like your aesthetic of what you want. And I would say choosing something that isn't just trendy, because I feel like, 50 years from now or 30 years from now, whenever you're looking back on it, that trendy style that you might like now might not like correlate over. So that was a big reason why we chose you guys, because I felt like it was very timeless and it was clean and it goes in our house and it doesn't like stand out like a sore thumb. It just looks like super nice and clean and crisp and just very, very, very nice. So just letting you know.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah. I feel like also like with photography, even though this is kind of like separate, but like y'all's leadership skills that y'all bring to it, like just makes you just get an extra thing for that, and not everybody does that. So that's one of those things that obviously we got the pictures that we wanted, that Mehgan wanted and how she wanted them. But at the same time, you made everything smooth, And I feel like I see that because I've been in a lot of weddings, and I feel like you don't see that in every photographer. It seems like sometimes that they are just coming to snap their photos and leave,
Or vendors in general. Like, I feel like the vendors we had, really, truly, I feel like we had some great vendors who didn't just do our stuff that we needed and then just like leave, and we never really heard from them again. Like even our food, we used Purple Door. They were amazing. I mean, they were very, they sat down with us, let us choose every little thing. She made sure everything was perfect the day of, and she was, there hands-on, that kind of thing. So I feel like having a vendor, if you're going to spend money for a vendor, having somebody who does more than just the service that is like blatantly obvious is what I truly was looking for. And I feel like we got that with a lot of
with
our
everything.
vendors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So photography for sure, food for sure. I would spend the most money on for the wedding.
Or splurge, if you're going to try to like,
Yeah.
Oh, we don't want to do this or we want to do that. Like photography and food are probably your top two that I would say, hey, these are what you need to work in your budget to have. Everything else, you can, kind of give and take a little.
Yeah. And I would say like some things that I wouldn't personally, I don't think that I would splurge on again for the wedding, or things it wasn't really a splurge, but it was just kind of unnecessary. Was I think we were talking about this was like the pre-wedding stuff. So like the planning notebooks and stuff like that. Like all you really need is a 3-ring binder and have all of your documents in there. But that's coming from somebody who wanted to plan their wedding from start to finish and kind of knew what I wanted.
That's a good point.
I feel like I didn't need that personally for myself. And I still have it, and I didn't really even write in it once. I feel like it just was a catch-all for like paperwork. I would say also stuff for like the table settings. It's beautiful. I loved everything that I did. Coming again from the point that I made a lot of the stuff for the tables, in terms of like the menus and the signs and that kind of thing. You don't have to have all of that stuff if you're on a budget and you want to like splurge on other stuff. I would splurge more on your main vendors, photography, food, maybe even like your DJ, your drinks, whatever it might be. But the little details, try to do as much that you can without spending as much money, because I mean, you can still make it beautiful without all of that.
To go on with that though, and correct me, Emily, give me the term, but the gift that you give like to everybody at the end, or what, I don't know.
The favors.
The favors, I mean, we're in 2023. I feel like it's a waste of money. I mean, some people might think
Okay,
not.
I will say though, I think we kind of did a good spin on COVID with ours, with the hand sanitizer.
Yes, but like,
Yes.
But
I
the
agree.
keys,
I
I'm sorry,
agree.
hot take again. I'm doing another hot take, guys.
I love it.
Keys or
The keys, like with other people's names on it. Yeah, maybe for like your mom or your grandma, it's going to be like, that's so sweet. But like for me, if it's just my friend, I'm like, why do I need the key to their heart?
Yeah,
I
and that's
know what I
something that you
mean.
could cut out to get photography where you can
Yes.
send pictures, to that, and or
do like
get you more food.
A dessert bar, like add that
Better
into your
food.
dessert section, like
Mashed potato
do that
bar.
or something
Yeah.
that's like, oh, it's something extra. That's like, on your way out, like you can take that. Like the last wedding we were at, their favorite was biscuits.
Yeah, I just feel like
that's
with
That's amazing.
It's amazing. It was literally like ham and cheese biscuits when you're leaving the venue at 11 p.m. Like,
and that's a point where
Yeah.
like with our hand sanitizer, it's something that someone's actually going to use. So yes, spend that money if that's what you want to do. But if you're just going to,
just throw it away.
throw it away, especially now.
Which I
And,
feel like a lot
20
of
years
people
ago, that was a very hype thing because everyone saved everything. But with technology now, you have pictures, you have all those types of things that people
really need
store and you don't need.
Yeah. No.
I also think like a photo booth. I enjoyed our photo booth. Do I think that we needed to pay that much money for somebody to come there to actually, take the photos? No. I think you could have just set up a photo station and people could just use their phones.
Unless it's like a unique type of thing.
We did have like
We kinda-
Polaroids that, it was like picture
Yeah.
sheets that came out, which was cool that they could take them with them. But I don't think that you necessarily need that. Also, sorry, I hear my son.
Great,
Say-
James is back.
I hear little Gray.
He wanted a feature.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And I will say too, my personal favorite, any kind of favor that we've seen, upper crust pizza truck.
Ugh.
Ooh.
Yeah, like
Yeah, anything
something
food.
food.
Come on.
Yes.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not gonna lie, I forgot you were over there. I was like, who's talking
Hey,
right
hey
now?
James.
Hey, I'm just letting
Emily,
y'all roll.
I have a question for you.
Oh no.
What was your favor
Ooh.
for your wedding?
My favorite?
She's like, a key.
Actually, oh wait, I'm like, how did I forget this? We were babies when we got married, but we had a caricature artist come for a couple hours, and we met her actually at a bridal show. She walked up to me and my mom, and she was just talking with us about the wedding, drawing, staring at us, like just listening, actively listening. But she drew a picture of me and my mom, and she was like, "Here you go. Here's my business card," and we loved that. So we
that's
actually had
amazing.
her there. And we were the last portrait of the night, and everyone got a picture of themselves, like a carnival caricature.
Yeah.
She actually, at our wedding, when we did like the little cake thing, I would probably go back and not do the cake thing anymore.
Yeah.
But James and I, we just, us, we bicker back and forth, and I have a heavy
No.
hand.
Really?
I'm a little powerhousey sometimes, but I basically shoved a piece of cake in his face and made his nose bleed.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's great.
And
Like
he
literally
did-
took it and shoved it so far up my nose. And then we had like the best man and maid of honor speeches right after that. So the entire time they're doing their speeches, I don't remember a word of it because my nose was I was just trying to like.
We-
You have a
we
nosebleed.
did-
Of course, James's nose would bleed.
So
Of course.
yeah. So then he did the same to me. So in the picture, our caricature picture, I still have it actually somewhere in this house. I'm holding a piece of cake and James is holding a thing of nose drops
That is
and like
so
tissues
funny.
or something. It's so funny. But yeah, that's what we did as our favors back in the day.
That reminded me of one more thing that I would splurge on that you don't need, but we
Ooh.
had a live painter at our ceremony, and she painted the whole entire ceremony. And then at the end of the reception, she gave us our like canvas, and it was this most beautiful photo. And
I
now we
remember that.
have it
Yes.
in our house, and that is something that like we'll cherish forever. Like I feel like that's one thing 100% I would splurge on.
Yeah, that was really cool. I
didn't
still
think
remember
about
that.
I didn't think about that until you said your character.
Yeah. You okay over there?
Yeah, sorry guys. It's okay.
So this question, we kind of already talked about this earlier, and maybe we this is definitely gonna be a 2-part episode because I know we just are
Rambling.
really. I'm enjoying this conversation. I hope everyone else is too. I wanted to ask what your favorite photo memory was with us, but I know we talked about the Biltmore.
Biltmore.
So, little backstory. These two got engaged, or Chad popped the question, at the Biltmore Estate. And it was like this big old story. I don't know how much we're going to go into detail, but good old Meg here was not anticipating anything. And all 3 of us had a sign that basically Chad was going to pick the spot. And I wanted that to be from him. But whenever he was ready, I wanted to have like
I'm
a
already
sure
starting
moment.
to laugh. Sorry.
I wanted to have like a sign to let him know that we were also ready because we're photographers. We've been friends for several years now. Like, I don't even know. It's been
over 5 years.
Yeah. So it was really cool. Like we were just going down. I told Mehgan we wanted headshots. And so we can give you headshots. So we just had this thing. And the warning was supposed to be me dropping my phone on the ground, and that would be Chad's sign of like, all right, it's go time. Well, Chad, do you want to tell it from your perspective? Because I just feel like an idiot.
Or can I tell it from my perspective?
Yeah.
Please
Yes.
let Megan go first, and then I can.
So we're in these gardens, beautiful gardens, and Emily and James are like, okay, like we'll do you guys first. So you guys go out there, stand there. So Chad and I are, taking some photos. I can tell Chad's like kind of just like looking around, and I'm just like, okay, like smile, like we're trying to smile here. And I notice Emily's like, okay, all right, hold on. And I see her like over here. Well, all of a sudden, she like takes her phone and she like slams it like down on the ground, and it hits the concrete. And I'm like,
Not the mulch that
No.
she's like
she
standing
thinks it
on.
was
Right
in.
here.
She throws it another foot
yes.
away onto
And
the concrete.
I'm like, I look and I'm like, what the heck? Like, what?
I think you asked, did you just throw your
I
phone?
was like, did you just throw your phone? You're like, oh, it dropped. Like, anytime now. Like, we are good. Anytime.
giving me.
Like,
the
I
cue.
remember you picked up your phone, though, because you were, like, looking to see if you cracked it. And then you were like, we're good. Anytime. And then, I realized what was happening because Chad stopped smiling for the photos and, did his thing. But
started crying a little.
it started crying. And
Started
then I just
crying.
knew.
Yes.
But
But
yeah.
can we talk about James, me and you in the back of the car,
Oh my god.
and how?
Oh my
how
gosh.
Stupid I was.
We were both stupid. I don't know why, but we both were just like, I wonder if the ring is going to set off the metal detectors they have going in. Did not occur to me. People go through the freaking metal detectors every day with rings on, doesn't go off. I don't know.
We even brought Emily into this.
Yes.
And I had no
Me-
clue.
Yeah, we fooled all 3 of us.
I had no clue. I was sitting there like, why are they freaking out? Like they played it off like, oh, I don't know if my camera's gonna set off the medical detector.
That's what it was.
Yeah, and here I am holding the ring on the other side of the camera. And you're like, you want me to hold it? I'm like, no, I got it.
That was not our
gosh.
brightest moment. But,
No,
It
oh my
wasn't.
gosh.
But
Hey, it worked out.
Yeah.
I mean,
made
it
for a
almost
story, right?
it
Yeah.
almost didn't work out because just so you guys know, don't ever tell Emily any of your secrets.
No. I'm a good secret keeper.
Emily, you got to tell this one.
Yeah, Emily has to tell this one.
I hope you've been enjoying this interview so far. We are definitely going to put this into a part 2 because I'm enjoying this conversation with you guys. So, yeah, we are already going to post part 2. So, literally, if you're at the end of this and you're like, I want more, it's already up. So, go listen to it.